Hey there everybody, it's Matt from Literary Gamers here today, and I'm going to be talking about Ashes Reborn. This is going to be a new release from Plaid Hat Games. First off, Plaid Hat, thank you for sending us a copy for review. I saw some questions online about Ashes Reborn for those who had collected the original set and wanting to know what some of the differences were. So I'm going to do a few videos on the 8 Phoenix Born that we were sent, 2 at a time. Showing you what has changed on the cards, at least, because it feels like most of the gameplay is similar, but there are some changes to that as well, and that'll be another video. But first, we're going to talk about today Aradel Summergaard and Cole Roarkin. I think that's how you say it. Yeah, that's how you say it. Okay, so here we have Aradel Summergaard. This deck right here is the deck from the original Ashes. This is the Reborn. And we're going to be going through the decks to take a look at what's different. I'm only going to point out what's different. You're also going to hear me playing with some paper here. Just my notes on some of the things that have been changed. Overall, I'm always going to start with a look at the Phoenix Born and the changes that may or may not have happened. As far as Aradel Summergaard goes, she remained generally untouched. She, I believe, has the least amount of changes in all of the Ashes decks, and she was one of the more powerful ones in the starter set for the last Ashes, so let's take a look and see what's been changed. Like I said before, I'm always going to give you a look at both of the Phoenix Born. She was unchanged as far as gameplay and her deck. But let's go to the first one that was changed. Now I'm only going to put out one card. So the first card that was changed for her is called Reflection in the Water. Let me get the new one out here. Alright, and there's the new one. One thing I've noticed as I've been going through a lot of the decks is that the Respark ability is no longer available on many of these cards, and I do believe it was taken out of the game completely. Now, if we take a look at the card itself, the old one basically had a major action cost, and if you notice in the new one, trust I'm not giving you a shadow, this is a side action that you can play and has a shared cost. So with, I believe this was just really a wording change. Yeah, it was reworded. So the old one says, as long as this spell is attached to this unit, it is considered to have no abilities other than inexhaustible abilities. Okay, and so the new one is, while the spell is attached to this unit is considered to have no abilities, including inexhaustible abilities, but this one does add fleeting, which it does say discard this card at the end of the round. So that is one of the things, sorry, not one of the things, one of the cards that was changed. Let's take a look at the next one that's been changed up a little bit, and that is going to be Root Armor. So that's the old one. And the new one here. Alright, so Root Armor, as far as I have on my notes, it still remains a side action. And it has no Respark ability, like I had talked about earlier. But you'll also notice that the stat changed. So this one used to give 2 extra life to one of the units you attached it to. This one only gives you +1 life. This also has an ability, which is Armored 1. After this unit is dealt damage, prevent 1 damage from being received. So in a way, yes, the stat went down on the new one, but you got something a little extra with the new set. Let's look at the next one. And like I said, not much of her deck changed. Those are the only 2 cards out of her set that really were changed. The next thing that got changed up were her... I'm brand new to getting this stuff into focus, so here we go. Were the Conjurations. The first one to be changed is the Blue Jaguar. So according to my notes, first off you have both things, an ability change and a stat change. So here, Gaze 1, after a unit comes into play on an opponent's battlefield, you may spend 1 basic magic to place one exhaustion token on that unit. This one is, when this unit is declared as an attacker, you may choose a target unit an opponent controls. That unit cannot block or guard for the remainder of the turn. In a way, it's the same thing, you just don't have the token for it. And sometimes those exhaustion tokens can pile up and pile up. This is a way that it's been changed. The stat change is attack 2. The new one is an attack 1. The life is still the same and there's no recover. So that's really the Blue Jaguar there. The last thing I should mention, and this goes for all Phoenixborn in the game in Ashes Reborn. In the original set, you had 5 Blue Jaguars in the Conjuration pile. In the current set, Ashes Reborn, you only have 2 of them. Alright. The other thing that changed, doing this a little backwards because I'm on that side of the table, is the new Butterfly Monk. Alright, there we go. So according to my notes, we have a stat change only. Most of this remains the same, mainly like through wording. So for example, we have the ability here, Unit Guard is still there. We also have Last Blessing on the old one, which is when this unit is destroyed, remove 1 wound from a target unit or Phoenixborn. This one has Mend, which is when this unit is destroyed, you may remove 1 wound from a target unit or Phoenixborn. Reworded, it's the same thing, but the stat change is different. So this one had an attack of 1, also attack of 1, but the stat is different here. Life equals X is the number of summon Butterfly Monk spells on the board. This one's just 1. And also, this had a recover of 1, and there's no recover on the new one. Also, same thing with Conjurations. The Butterfly Monk only has 2 instead of 5 as it was in the original. And those are the changes that were made to Aradel Summergaard there. If you have any questions, please shoot me a message in the comments below, and we'll move on to the next deck. Alright, so our next one up here is Cole Roarkin. I have to say that slowly, I don't know why. I think it's the RKW that's messing me up. This is, out of all the notes I've taken, probably the most changed out of all the Phoenixborn decks in the Master set. I can't speak for any of the expansions yet, I don't have them. I just have Master set, the base, and then 2 of the deluxe expansions right now. Once again, thank you Plaid Hat for sending those to us. So Cole, out of all his base cards and his Conjurations, has a lot of changes. So the first thing is the Phoenixborn himself. So the stats are almost the same, but you'll notice that he still has 15 health. His battlefield is still 6, and his old spellboard was 5. The new spellboard is 4. So that's a stat change for him. We also have, it's kind of the same thing that's being said, but a little different. So on the old one, it had Slash, which was a side action to discard a card to deal 1 damage to a target unit. If an opponent has no units in play, you may deal 1 damage to their Phoenixborn instead. It's worded a little different, maybe for ease of play. Same thing, /1 on this one and discard a card. Choose a player, deal 1 damage to a target unit they control, or deal 1 damage to their target Phoenixborn if they control no units. Either or, it's the same thing, just worded a little differently. Alright, so I'm going to pull these decks off and find the cards that have been changed. One thing I want you to know about Cole Roarkin is that he was a character I had wanted to really like in the base set, and I could never get him working well. I think it was just the opponent was always so afraid of those iron rhinos that he has in his Conjurations that every time I got one out, I just couldn't protect it properly enough. When he did win, it always felt great, but overall, he was one of the more underperforming Phoenixborn we had in the base set. So the first card that's been changed is called Expand Energy. The old one was a main action, and then you needed the highest level of magic on the black dice. Now it's a main action, and you just need the lowest level. Also, this was a ready spell, so it went in your spell board. Now it's been turned into an action spell. So when you used a main action on the original, you would put a exhaustion token, spend 1 die in your exhausted pool, re-roll it, and place it into your active pool. Not a bad ability, but very expensive to even get on the board. This one has now become just an action spell. So this one's just draw until you have 2 cards in your hand. That's a great card to have, especially at the beginning of the game. I always find that I, use most of my hand right at the beginning. So that'd be a great one to have there. So the next one that is changed, this one's been changed a little bit that it caused some confusion for me. Here's the old card, Protect. The new card is Cover. Same card, but very different. So the old one, like I said, called Protect, was an action spell. Ready spell. This one is a reaction spell. So already it's quite changed. So the old one had the ability of, when this spell comes into play, place 3 status tokens on it. Discard this card when it no longer has any status tokens on it. And then, when the unit you control would receive damage, you may remove any number of status tokens from the spell. For each status token removed, prevent 1 damage to that unit. The new one is just a reaction spell. You may play this spell after your Phoenixborn, while guarding, is dealt damage by a unit's attack. Prevent that damage from being received to deal 1 damage to the target attacking unit. Very different, especially since most of his cards have not only changed in their abilities, they've changed in the type of spell that they are. So the next one we've got here is the old one and a new one. So Chant of Revenge. Mostly stayed the same cost-wise and type, but it's the ability that changed. The old one is, whenever a unit you control is destroyed, you may place 1 exhaustion token on this spell to deal 1 damage to a target unit or Phoenixborn. They changed that to, after an ally you control is destroyed, place 1 status token on this spell if it has no status tokens on it. And then a side action, remove 1 status token from this spell to deal 1 damage to a target Phoenixborn. So, kind of different, but there's more to it in this new one. His next changed card was a unit. So here's the old one, the Anchor Knot. Let me get out the new one. I did have a chance to play this deck the other day, so it's a little out of order. So the Anchor Knot remains the same as far as the type it is. It's an ally, and the cost remained the same, and the stats remained the same. However, it says throw 1 on the old one. During your turn, you may place 1 exhaustion token on this unit to deal 1 damage to a target unit. This one says throw 1. When this unit comes into play, you may deal 1 damage to another target unit. So a little different on how that's used there. And then the Ironworker is next. Please let me know if this is close enough to see, because I plan on doing some of these with each of the new Phoenixborns that get released that were part of the original set. There's an Ironworker. So the Ironworker really also had just an ability change. Cost is the same. Stats are fairly much similar. The old one was resourceful. When this unit comes into play, place 1 status token on it. At the beginning of the player's turns, at the player turn phase, place 1 status token on this unit. And then over time, anytime during your turn, you may remove any number of status tokens from this unit. For each status token removed, you may take 1 additional side action this turn. He's been very simplified to basically say over time. During the draw card step, you may draw up to 2 additional cards. And that was very handy to have. However, dangerous at the same time, because if you run out of your deck, you'll eventually lose the game. And then the Hammer Knight was also changed. Let me get a Hammer Knight out of the new one. Alright, so this is a ability change and stat change, as you can see. Cost remains the same, but it's Aftershock on the old one. When this unit deals damage by attacking or countering, you may place 1 wound on a target unit.
So this is Aftershock. After this unit destroys a unit an opponent controls by attacking, you may deal 1 damage to a target unit. And then this one also has Alert. Do not place exhaustion tokens on this unit as a result of its countering. This one had an attack of 4. This is attack of 3. Life of 3, life of 4. So that was basically flipped. This one only had Recover 1. This one has Recover 2. You also have 1 less of these in the base deck that you did in the original. And the last card that was changed was the Spiked Armor. That's no longer called Spiked Armor. It is now called Close Combat, which is right here. Cost is different. The old one had a cost of low magic and then medium. This one just has high magic. And the ability was, this unit has the following ability. When the unit is damaged by 1 or more attacking or countering units, simultaneously deal 2 damage to each unit that is attacking or countering this unit, and it gave you 2 life. The new one is just choose an unexhausted unit you control. Deal damage to another target unit equal to the chosen unit's attack value. Then place 1 wound token or 1 exhaustion token on the chosen unit you control. It's very different. And this is also, an alteration spell. This one's just a basic action spell. So the old one got put on units, and the new one is played out of hand. We also have the last change in the Iron Rhino. Now, I really enjoyed trying to get the Iron Rhinos out onto the field. Before anything else, I will say that the attack values have changed. The life value has not, but the abilities have changed, and we'll talk a little bit about the biggest change with the Iron Rhino. So first off, it really had no ability. It was an attack of 5, had a life of 4. The new one has Gigantic. This unit cannot be blocked or guarded against by units with a life value of 1 or less. And also had Overkill. After this unit destroys a unit an opponent controls by attacking, deal 2 damage to that opponent target's Phoenixborn. We also had an attack of 7, and this one has a life of 4, same thing. The biggest change is, unlike in the base game where you had 5 Iron Rhinos, you now only have 1 in the new edition. So that is the changes to Cole, Roarkin. I'm saying that correctly, I know. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. Until next time, everybody, this is the 2 Phoenixborn we're talking about today. That was Aradel Summergaard and Cole Roarkin. We'll see you next time.